So in the session, we're going to be going to the admission requirements for university. There are some general entry criteria that you need to fulfill in order to be eligible, as well as the application process itself, to give you an idea of also of the timeline and the general time frame and the way applications are done for our courses, as well as answering any questions which you might have by the end of this session. Just to clarify, the session is intended for those of you who will be applying with overseas qualifications or international qualifications. However, there's a small distinction to be made. Those of you who are doing international baccalaureate or European baccalaureate do not fall under today's category. So those of you who are intending to apply with or provide us with the international or European baccalaureate, this information is not suitable for you. You can still obviously decide to follow, but we will be giving information specific to those of you who will be providing us with high school qualifications from your given country. We'll also be guiding you to a section in our website where you will be able to check exactly what qualifications you would be expected to present from your respective country and what the process is afterwards. So just to give you an introduction and some basic background to our university and to our island. Malta is a relatively small nation state. We're English speaking. We're located in the middle of the Mediterranean. We're the southernmost European state. Our island is our economy is in rapid development at the moment. We have quite a growing economy, and in a way this reflects a lot on even what we are doing. Our island is becoming much more international over the years. If you know anything about Malta, or if you heard anything about Malta, it might have to do something with our history. We have a very long history so far as archaeology and architecture and actually written and documented history. We are relatively popular for our summers here. We're quite a touristic place as well, so we tend to have a big influx of tourists over the summer period in particular. Other than that, those of you who might never have heard of us, we don't really blame you. Quite a small country altogether. We're around 500,000 people. Our campus at the same time is a campus which is very long established. We have over 400 years of being a university. Also, our campus is very much an international one. We have students from over 100 different countries, and our international population comprises almost 15 to 20% of our student population here. Meaning that the international community here is quite well established at the University of Malta. We also offer a number of facilities, of support facilities, as well as offering courses in a variety of different streams. So our university is divided under different faculties and institutes. As you can see, the sheer number of faculties, institutes, centers, and schools means that we basically cover a vast range of subjects. Our 5 main streams being the business stream, medicine and health sciences, the social sciences, science and technology, and the humanities. Basically meaning that we cater for anything from engineering courses to medicine courses to nursing courses to Bachelor of Arts and Humanities courses, and anything else in between at postgrad and undergrad level as well. So this is, by the way, just something worth mentioning is that we will be sharing this presentation with you afterwards. So keep in mind that these links will be shared with you afterwards. Most of our information can be found already published online. The list of courses, the course catalog, and our course database, the course finder, are available here. We'll also be referencing them in the next couple of slides. And we will share these with you. Those of you interested in PhDs, we always notice that we have some some people who are interested in PhDs who join us for these sessions. There's a slightly different process, but we encourage you to contact us. We'll give you our contact information later on, and we'll give you sort of what to do and who to approach in order to start the PhD application process. I think we can go to the next slide. Just something else we can tell you is that the application is done entirely online. We have it's quite a simple, straightforward task in order to start an application with us. Our office helps you with this process, and we will do our best to make it as easy on you as humanly possible. The process is relatively straightforward. We usually share a short 5-minute tutorial with you that you can see whilst you're actually preparing and submitting your application. It's relatively very much straightforward, and the process is done online. Upon submission of the application, it generally takes between 6 to 8 to 10 weeks, depending on which course you're applying for, and you will be receiving a decision letter. So these are some questions that we tend to get asked that we will be dealing with in the next few minutes. So how do I find the course? How do I know it's available for the next intake, this being October? How do I equate myself with the admission requirements? What is required on me? How do I know if I'm eligible or not? How do I fill in the online application form? What is the application? When is the application deadline? Sorry. Which documents will I need to submit when I submit my application? What is the deadline for submitting of these documents? And how to change the course preferences. Also, what fees are applicable when applying, and what to do when you receive a decision letter. Basically, our 3 generic, let's say, decision letters would be either an acceptance letter, a conditional acceptance letter, meaning that you'd have to abide by some conditions, or a letter of rejection. Now my colleague Daniel will be getting into these one by one. I know we might be having some issues today with the webcams, but I believe everything else is functioning well, so I think we can continue like this. So Daniela.
Thank you, Matthew, and thank you all for joining us. We'll be going over the frequently asked questions, and then we will cover any of your questions later on in the Q&A section. So right now we are accepting applications for the courses starting in October 2023, which is our main yearly intake. And you can find a detailed list of courses by scanning this code. I will show you the list as it is right now. So as you can see, we have an extensive number of faculties offering courses throughout the year. The list is structured mainly by faculty, and for each faculty you can see a list of programs starting from master level and going down to bachelor or diploma level. On the right hand side of the list, you will be able to see the mode of attendance for the program, mode of delivery rather, be it full-time or part-time, and you can see the duration of the courses as well. Okay, this is the list. It's, as I said, it's structured by faculty, so feel free to search for your preferred field or area depending on the faculties. Okay, now when you find a program that meets your interest, you can read more about it in our course finder. As Matthew said, we'll be sharing this presentation and links with you later on, but in the meantime, I can show you how to use the course finder. For example, if you're interested in psychology, you can simply input a keyword here, click on search courses, and the finder will give you all the options available for the upcoming intake. As you can see, it generated all the programs that are currently on offer with psychology as an option. By clicking on a course, you can read an extensive overview, and you can also find out more information about the admission requirements and the program of study and so on. Okay, moving forward. So that is our list of courses on Course Finder. entry requirements. As we discussed in the course finder, you can read about specific course requirements, but then, especially if you're coming from a foreign country and you have non-Maltese qualifications, we have developed a country-based comparability that you can view on this page. Let me go here. So, as you can see, there is an extensive list of countries. For example, let's pick a country. I'm going here for today. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Just a second. Okay, let me go to Croatia for today. So our country-specific requirements are very similar in terms of structure. We will always ask you for a particular certificate, such as, for example, this Croatian matura. You will have instructions for satisfying our requirements, which are twofold. So you have basic general entry requirements, and for some courses, you will have special course requirements. And these instructions will guide you to understand how your diploma can meet these requirements. For those of you who are interested in master programs, our country-specific entry requirements do not really cover entry into postgraduate courses. However, it's important to note that when applying for master programs, we will always ask you for a recognized bachelor degree with an acceptable average mark, depending on your grading system. And the bachelor degree should always be somewhat related to the master's program that you are applying for. And those are the basic entry requirements for master level. If you're interested in bachelor or diploma programs, you would need to refer to these country-specific criteria depending on the country of origin of your qualifications. Just to give you a different perspective, if we go to Albania, there are a different set of criteria, and we can also visit, I don't know, something different. As you can see, there are many options to choose from. When your country is not listed on this page, it's mostly because we are currently covering the countries from which we receive the most applications, but we are working on developing more entry requirements for other countries, as we are seeing a large influx of international students, and we want to cater for you all. So we will be updating this page. In the meantime, if you do not see your country on the list, feel free to drop us an email and we will answer your question privately. Once we receive your request, we'll also work on adding your country to our list. So I'm going to go back to the presentation. So those are the country requirements. Also, one last thing about requirements, the information that we have available on our website is mostly for guidance purposes. Sometimes, and in most cases, qualifications would need to be assessed on a case-by-case basis, which means that we would not always be able to give you a clear indication of eligibility or otherwise just by seeing your qualifications. Normally, we always advise that you submit an application with copies of your qualifications, such that our admissions team may be able to conduct a proper assessment of your qualifications and issue a formal decision. Okay. Moving forward. So the online application form is available and it will remain available online until the 28th of July at 2 p.m. In order to learn more about how to complete the application form, you will be able to view a video which is available in this link, and we will share this link with you after the webinar. Okay. These are some deadlines. For those of you who are interested in our medicine program, our Doctor of Medicine and Surgery course, it's very important to note that applications for this course closed in January, and we are not accepting any late applications. The course will be offered again for commencement in October 2024, and applications will be made available towards November. So kindly contact us again at the time, such that we may provide you with the necessary details. In the meantime, the deadline for all other courses is the 20th July at 2 p.m. local time. Okay, it's very important that you apply within the deadline, and ideally do not leave the application until the very last minute. Also, since summer is our busiest period, we highly encourage all of you to apply before June if you can, so as to enable our admissions team and faculties to assess your application and to deliver a decision in an optimal time, basically. Decisions, as Matthew was saying earlier, normally are communicated within a 10-week period, 10 weeks from the application date. Obviously, we try our best to get back to you as soon as possible.
Sometimes
but
it's very
that is the
straightforward,
average.
and sometimes it takes longer.
Yes, exactly. But 10 weeks is the average turnaround time. Also, for those of you who will be applying for courses which are capped, that is, they have a limited number of students that can be accepted per year. Those types of courses require a shortlisting process that is normally done after the application deadline, so after July, also meaning that decisions will be communicated between August and September. So do keep it in mind if you are looking to apply for capped courses. Capped courses are normally courses offered by our Faculty of Health Science, and they include midwifery, food and nutritional sciences, podiatry, and so on. Also, we do have a capped course offered by our Physical Education Institute. So do stay on a lookout for these courses, because when they accept a minimum number of students, it means that decisions will come out later in summer. For those of you who are interested in applying for Masters by Research or doctoral programs, there is no fixed deadline. You can apply at multiple intervals during the academic year, and decisions are issued on a rolling basis. So depending on when we receive an application and depending on the assessment process, we issue decisions as soon as they are available. Okay, moving forward. So documents, this is the standard list of documents that you are expected to apply with, okay, irrelevant of the course that you are applying for. So you would need an identification document, either a passport or ID. Now, I would like to include a short note here because we do receive a number of questions. So in the application form, you can input 2 nationalities. So if you are a dual national, you can input both nationalities. However, keep in mind that depending on the nationality that you input, you have to provide a significant identification document. So if you input 2 nationalities, we would expect that you supply 2 passports or IDs a passport or ID per nationality. Okay, so if you are French and Maltese, we need a Maltese ID and a French passport. The same if you are applying with an American passport, and you also tell us that you are an Italian national as well. So you would need an Italian ID and an American passport. If one of your identification documents is expired, you can apply with it, but please make sure that you replace it with a valid document as soon as possible. Okay. So we would also need a CV, especially if you're applying for postgraduate courses or courses which require proof of experience. Some courses such as the digital arts program or fine arts program may also ask you for a portfolio, but this requirement is course-based. The CV is optional if you are applying for a foundation level diploma or bachelor degree program and you are still a student coming out of high school, basically. So if you have no relevant work experience to share, you can apply without a CV. Obviously would require copies of your qualifications, irrespective of what they are, be they a high school diploma or a bachelor or master's degree. Will require copies of your certificates, and most importantly, your transcripts, including all the results obtained up until the final year of studies. For those of you who are still waiting for their final results, you can apply with provisional transcripts or something unofficial, an unofficial transcript provided by your school or university, and then eventually submit your final transcript with the final results as soon as they are available. For those of you whose qualifications are not published in English, we will require official certified English translated copies of your certificates and transcripts. When I say certified, it means that these documents need to be stamped or signed by the translator. And very important here, the translator has to be a recognized business or a recognized authority that can issue translations, and the translations cannot be done by you, basically, by you or a relative. It has to be an official agency. For those of you who are applying for Masters by Research or a PhD, you will require a research proposal for your application. Okay, very important. These types of applications cannot be assessed without a research proposal. Also, some programs such as our medicine course, our psychology programs, and some courses offered by the Faculty of Education or Health Sciences will ask you for what we call a certificate, a police certificate of conduct. This is basically a police clearance certificate which confirms that you do not have a criminal record in your country of residence. It can be obtained from different agencies depending on your country of residence. In Malta, it is obtained from the police authorities. In Ireland, it's issued by the Garda.
Yeah, and there are different names for it as well.
Exactly, in Italy from the Carabinieri, if I'm not
yes,
mistaken.
Or
yes, exactly. And it depends basically on your country of residence. But it is a document that confirms that you have no criminal record, and it is a requirement for a number of courses. So if you come across this requirement...
It's a good conduct certificate sometimes.
Exactly.
Or,
yes, it's called a good conduct certificate, a clearance certificate, and so on. If you come across this requirement in the application form and you get stuck, please contact us and we will guide you, but this is basically what it is. Also, our application video tutorial, which we will be sharing with you later on, will make reference to this requirement, and it will advise you how to fill in the relevant section in the application form. Finally, last but not least, all applicants need to fulfill our English language requirements, and most often this requirement is fulfilled by means of a secure English language test. I will be going into this later on. So, documents ideally ought to be uploaded with your application. Ideally, you do not submit an application without the required documents. However, we do understand that some of you may not be in possession of all the documents at application stage. So what we advise is that when completing your application form, you upload all the documents that are available to you, and then anything else that is pending may be submitted later on, ideally within not more than 10 days from the submission of the application. For those of you who are still waiting for your final results, which would normally come out between July and September. As I said, you may apply with provisional results or predicted grades, and then you can submit your final results later in summer as soon as they are available. Okay. However, we do encourage you not to apply without any documents, reason being that when our admissions team have to wait for your documents, that means that the application process, the assessment process has to be stalled until you finally submit your documents, which means that they can take longer to reply with a decision. Okay. So this is, we sometimes get queries from applicants who want to change the courses that they selected either before they apply or after they have already submitted the application form. For those of you who are still in the process of completing your application, you can contact us on this email address and advise which courses you wish to change and what courses you want to replace them with. and we will amend your application accordingly. When doing so, it would be appreciated if you provide your application reference number and your full name and surname, and the email address that you are using to apply with, basically. For those of you who have already applied, so your application is in our system, you can opt to change your course preferences by filling in this free change of course application. It will ask you for your details, basically, and it will ask you for the names of the courses you wish to amend. The application to change your course is free of charge until the deadline of the 20th July at 2 p.m., after which there will be a small fee for those of you who want to change their course preference. So we'll now cover some information about fees. So right now we have a standard application fee of €95, which applies to the majority of our courses. For those of you who are interested, however, in our Flourish Master in Education and Resilience program, there should be a different application fee, which is accessible through the Flourish program website. Different fees also apply for those of you who are interested in the Conflict Resolution Master's program, and they are also accessible on the course page. If you have any doubts regarding the application fee which applies to you, always get in touch with us and we'll guide you accordingly. However, in the meantime, for the remainder of the courses, the standard application fee is €95. For those of you who generally ask, at the moment, the application fee cannot be waived under any circumstances. And it is also non-refundable once the application has been submitted. Okay, this is just for you to know. Apart from the application fee, we would then charge you tuition fees depending on the program that you select and on your circumstances, basically. Right now, our application fees are structured according to nationality, so either EU or non-EU. The reason is that in Malta, the government subsidizes tuition fees for undergraduate level courses, and for that reason, Maltese nationals do not pay fees for full-time undergraduate programs. The same waiver applies to all EU nationals because Malta is a new member state. However, it does not apply to non-EU member states. So we have different tuition fees for non-EU nationals. The same structure applies for master programs, in that fees are structured for EU and non-EU nationals, but fees for part-time undergraduate courses and master programs and also foundation level courses are payable by everyone, both EU and non-EU nationals. You can find detailed structured tuition fees on our course finder under the fees and funding section, and you will see the fees payable per academic year or per semester. These are some more details about tuition fees. If you visit this page later on when we share the presentation with you, you can read more about fees in this website, and you can see all the different options you have here. Feel free to peruse this page, and if you have any additional questions, we can answer them for you. So this is the last part of the presentation. We'll go into the different types of letters that you should expect to receive from us. So the most popular letter is the unconditional acceptance letter, which means that you have been fully accepted onto the course that you selected. This letter will reach you by email, as will all other types of letters. And together with the letter, you will receive instructions in the form of an information pack, which will guide you in relation to visa applications, payment of tuition fees, accommodations, instructions regarding verification of documents, and enrollment. You will also receive an activation code, which will lead you to creating your own University of Malta email address. And this is the most important part. So as soon as you receive the letter of acceptance, you have to check if you have an activation code for your email account and start the process to activate said email address. The reason for this is that as soon as you have an email, a University of Malta email account, our faculties will be able to reach you on that email address. We always encourage you to read your acceptance letter because it contains all the information you will need in order to start the process for enrollment. And if you get stuck at any point, you can also contact us and we will guide you. However, you should be happy to receive this letter basically because it's the first step towards you coming to us in October.
Yes. And something else to note is those of you that would be receiving an acceptance or a conditional acceptance letter, we would eventually even be contacting you ourselves and inviting you to future sessions where we will be guiding you beyond the acceptance letter itself.
Exactly. Moving forward, the conditional acceptance letter. This letter will accept you on the selected course subject to your fulfilling a condition. So it could be that you did not yet submit your English proficiency test, that you are still waiting for your A-level results or your final degree results, or your diploma results. It could be that you are required to pass a test or an interview with your faculty. So it means that you are partially eligible, but not yet because you have to complete this requirement. If you meet this requirement in full, you will then receive a full unconditional acceptance letter, as we discussed before. There are some rare cases when students do not meet our conditions, and in that case, unfortunately, we would not be able to accept them. So if you receive a conditional offer letter, you have to make sure that you eventually fulfill the stipulated condition and that you comply with our requirements within the stipulated deadlines in the letter. If ever you receive such a letter and you need more assistance, let us know and we will guide you accordingly. Finally, the rejection letter. This is not so popular, but unfortunately we do sometimes issue refusal letters. This letter is only issued when your qualifications cannot be accepted to fulfill our requirements at all. It is the last resort, so we do not issue a letter of regrets unless we do not have any other options to offer you.
Generally speaking, we try to offer you other course options if that is indeed possible before issuing the refusal letter itself.
Exactly. We normally try, if your qualifications are not acceptable for the course that you have selected, we try to offer you an alternative. It could be either a completely different course, having only basic entry requirements. For example, we could offer you a foundation level program that could prepare you for the course. We sometimes offer preparatory programs if they are eligible for the course that you have selected, or we give you a high school route, which means that you would need to complete additional qualifications locally before being eligible to join the course. So we do try to give you an option through which you can join our institution, and we do not issue rejection letters lightly. So, but if we do, and if you want to learn more about the reason why, you can let us know and we will help you out.